What can the Blackhawks expect under Jeff Blashill? What can we expect in the Stanley Cup Final? What is the deal with Jake Ottinger and Pete DeBoer? We're going to ask Petey those questions next on CHGO Blackhawks. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. Happy last day of school for a lot of people. Teachers, students, janitors, etc. Lunch
all
lady.
The people that work at schools mostly.
Yes. School's out for summer.
Schools.
Awesome day.
Schools. There was, Grays Lake Central senior graduation last night. Listened to it from my backyard.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
My neighbor's daughter was graduating. Congrats to her.
I am now 3 years away from a high school graduate, as Addie had her last day of her freshman year at HF today. So,
Nice.
Man, time flies. Do us a favor, hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. If you're checking us out on your favorite podcast app, make sure you are following us on said app or subscribed or whatever your specific app calls for. And then head over to one of the two big apps, Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review on one of those bad boys. We'd appreciate that big time. Without any further ado, we're going to bring in our friend, our buddy, the best analyst in hockey. There, I said it. It's our pal Steve Peters from inside the coach's room. Petey, we love you. We're glad you're here. We haven't even started talking yet, and I've already declared my love. How you doing?
Oh, wow. I miss you guys. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
A little bit.
Stop by and talk Blackhawk hockey. And again, it's an exciting time for Blackhawk hockey. Because we talked about the draft before I came on air, and it's not like, hey, let's get excited about the draft. I hope we're getting past that in Chicago.
Yeah, it'd be nice if this was maybe not the last year, maybe the second to last year where the draft really is the focus of the summer. You know, I'm ready to start thinking about winning, start building a team that can compete in the playoffs, and a team you covered a long time, the Coyotes / Mammoth, seem to be headed in that direction. Maybe next year, maybe the year after, but it's got to feel good to have that finally come to fruition, despite not having them be local for you.
Yeah, it is, and it's, you know, the team is now. It feels like a decade that they've been out of Arizona. It's been a year. Like the Mammoths seem like, gosh, they've been in Utah for years, and it's just this emptiness here in Arizona. But it's coming back, you guys. You're going to have me on, and we're going to talk Arizona Coyotes 2.0 in just a matter of time, probably. Maybe.
As long as we don't need to have discussions about arenas or anything like that,
Exactly.
All
it will be
for
built. Build it.
All right. I'm here for it. Let's go. Hey, just real quick, what do you think of the name Mammoth?
Yeah, it's fine. It's a team name. Like I don't care. It's a team name. It's fine.
All right.
Great.
Well, what do you think of Jeff Blashill? Yeah.
I will say this, Jay, because as we grow up, team names are what they are. They're what they are. The Cleveland Browns are the Browns. I still, to this day, don't know why or what a Brown is. I don't know. I don't know, and I'm not being an ass. It's just I don't know. And they're just the Cleveland Browns because that's who they are. So now they're the Utah Mammoth. It's fine. I like it. Logo's cool. I like the colors, so I'm good.
Yeah, over time it won't mean much, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about Jeff Blashill. We have not had the chance to get your opinion on him. Yours is one of the opinions we value the most. New Blackhawks head coach made the rounds this week. He was on our show on Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Check that show out if you missed it. Pretty impressive. You know, I think we were all kind of, all right, Jeff Blashill, fine. And then the more we've talked to him, the more we learn from him, the more you kind of see it makes a lot of sense for the Hawks. What do you know about Blashill? What do you think?
Yeah, it's one of those things that now that you've met him in person, there's something about a coach in the National Hockey League and meeting them in person and going, yeah, this guy's a head coach. And Jeff Blashill checks that box. He's got that. There's something in the personality or something when they get into a room and they go, yeah, that guy's he's got it, whatever that is. Blashill has it. And I think the biggest thing for Blackhawk fans to know about Jeff Blashill is that the players like him and they like playing for him. He communicates extremely well. I've talked to some of the people that have worked with him in the past, and they tell me great presenter, meaning his meetings are really good. And that matters because you'll be able to convey and communicate what you're trying to sell to the players and get them to play a certain way. And I've heard he communicates well with players. And I go back to his strength being a college coach. I do think that's important. And I do think for this team in particular, with a very young nucleus, that he's used to that. He's coached 19 to 22-year-olds before. He's been around that young youth that he's got to teach. I think he's a good teacher. I think he's a good communicator. And you saw it. He's a positive guy. And I think one of the things for a coach right now for the Chicago Blackhawks is they need that bridge guy, the guy that can make it fun being at the rink, that you can lose games, but you still leave the rink going, gosh, that was okay. I feel good about things. I actually think this is a great hire for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, I think from, conversations with Jeff Blashill, that we were able to have on Wednesday and conversations we've had this week, it really does feel like this is coming into this season. This is a job that was viewed as a teaching job rather than a winning job. And a lot of emphasis has been put on the young players and the prospects, and that's going to be his task, is getting those guys up to not only NHL standards, but winning NHL standards. And one of the things that he has kind of emphasized is, quote unquote, playing winning hockey. And, talks strongly about a two-way game for, both forwards and defensemen, being able to, not play 50-50 hockey, being able to play a way that you're going to win the battle, if it's a puck battle, be able to have the possession. How do you see the young players with this group, guys like Frank Nazar, Connor Bedard, fitting that game, being able to adapt to that style of game where maybe they haven't had to focus on both ends of the ice as much as maybe Blashill is going to have them do?
I think it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be a difficult transition for some of these guys who haven't been, and that's a tough word to use, accountability, and the accountability to play on both sides of the puck, because I don't know if they've been taught that structure system, that had that education of development in the way they've been through head coaches so far. And that's not a knock on what Sorensen does. I think Sorensen's a great teacher, and I think it's great that he's continuing as part of this staff. But I think what Blashill did after, it was tough in Detroit. I think it was a similar role when he went to Detroit that the expectations are here in Chicago, in that Detroit was turning around, and Detroit was young, and Detroit was trying to get back to the glory days of the Detroit Red Wings. And unfortunately, the timeline just kind of ran out on him. And I don't fault him on that. I go back and look at the rosters over the seven years that he was there. They didn't improve much. And I don't think he got much help from above. So I'll say that at first. But secondarily, what he's done is he's gone to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And if he was open to it, and I'm assuming he was because he was there for 3 years, is you listened and you learned. And John Cooper is different. He's a different animal. He coaches differently than most. When he speaks, you listen, and he is that positive influencer, and he does know how to win, and they do play both ways in Tampa. So I think Blashill has learned and become even better because he's been around the atmosphere of where winning matters and winning is expected. And I do think the one thing that Chicago Blackhawks may have been missing, I think they've had the green light to play offensively and jump over the boards and go play. I think now this is the opportunity for them to, hey, we got to learn to play 200 feet. And we're going to have to, Connor Bedard specifically, that he's going to have to learn to play both areas of the ice and both sides of the ice, because then you can put him out on the ice at absolutely any time. Look at how McDavid defends and Draisaitl. They can defend. They're on the ice all the time. And the more you know how to play everywhere, you're going to get that opportunity to play.
That's it. One thing Blashill said to us was, he said, power play is a privilege. 6-on-5 is a privilege. 5-on-6 is a privilege. So the opportunity in an empty net is a privilege. I've never heard a coach say that before, but he also used a term called poke and hope, where he says you don't want to have the play where if you happen to poke it free, you've got a really good chance, but if you miss, the team's off the other way for a good chance of their own. He's trying to take that out of people. And if you listen to his introductory press conference, he's asked specifically about Connor Bedard, and he does a really masterful job of globalizing Connor Bedard's very specific problems, saying like, well, any player needs to adapt the styles of stopping on the puck and having short shifts. And he redirects it away from Bedard. But I think with Sorensen and Richardson, one of my criticisms to them would be that I feel like, not that Connor had a different set of rules, but they almost kind of treated him with kid gloves like, hey, look, it's overwhelming. He was number one pick. It's a ton of attention. We don't want to put too much on him. So, like, we're just going to let him do his thing, and then everybody else would be over here. And I do think we heard some players say, look, we've got guys playing selfishly, not doing things with the team in mind. And I do think that every now and again, that was sort of pointed at Connor Bedard. And I hope that Blashill's a guy that can get that message through him.
Yeah, and I think he has. Like he's had Henrik Zetterberg, he's had Dylan Larkin, and now we've seen all the star players that they've had in Tampa Bay. The reality is, when Sorensen gets called up from the American League, this franchise has centered everything around Connor Bedard. They just have. I mean, he is the face of the franchise on and off the ice, and the change and the evolution of the way players are treated is different. The players matter now, and meaning that they have power. They can get a coach fired, and you keep your eye on Dallas and what happened. But the point is, now players have power, and if Connor Bedard is the center of the universe in Chicago, you better make sure he's at least moderately happy. So I do think there was a lot of pressure. I don't think Blashill will face that same pressure, and here's why: because he's brought in under the auspices of he's going to learn and teach. There is no expectation that Chicago Blackhawks are making the playoffs next year, and again, I know fans are not going to want to hear that. But I don't think the mandate to Jeff Blashill right now is, hey, we got to carry this team to the Stanley Cup, and you got to get the team to the playoffs, because they're not there. And this is going to be a process. And I think once you get that mandate and that security that you have time, then I think you can outlay the plan that you want to get to that next level. And I think that having him have the security that he can make those kind of decisions and hold Connor Bedard accountable, then I think you're going to see this team start to take the next step forward.
Oh boy, I had a question and it just went out my head.
That's okay, Mario. That's what happened.
Man,
I got one. I got one queued
Go
up.
ahead, Jay.
You know, you mentioned earlier that happens. That happened to me with Blashill. I had a question for Blashill, and then he was almost done. I'm like, oh my god, what was my question?
I got it.
All right, bring it home.
Talking about what his expectations are going to be, not only this year but moving forward as he tries to develop the young group. You go into free agency. It's the percentage chance it's more likely that the Blackhawks don't land anybody that's big. But bringing in Blashill, going into this season, does having a coach with his resume, does that change the way Chicago is looked at? If they were to talk to like Brock Besser or Nikolai Ehlers or some of the, let's say, 1B free agents that are out there, does that maybe change how they look at, instead of it being Andrew Sorensen or a first-time coach, it's a guy that's had head coaching experience and has a lot of respect?
I think it matters, but it's just marginally, and I think you've already said it. You're not getting the 1As, and the 1As right now want to go win tomorrow, and they want to be in a market where they're going to be able to push for a cup. And Mitch Marner is that guy, and I don't think Mitch Marner is a Chicago Blackhawk. I don't think it's a fit. I don't think you take that swing. Having said that, you need to get that second tier guy. What I think the Blackhawks need, I think you need NHL players that know how to play in the NHL, meaning they know how to play the right way. They know how to prepare the right way. And they still have to have a little bit left in the tank. And I keep going back to Donato. To me, that's the guy they got to sign. And they still need to sign Ryan Donato. And I hope, I don't know if you guys have more news on that, but I hope that that's close. And you keep hearing rumors on it's getting close to being done. But that's the kind of player they need. Now, would Brock Besser help this team? Sure. I mean, absolutely. Nikolai Ehlers, absolutely, they would help this team. But this team is, again, this is 2-3 or more years away. And I think there will be time to make those big swings. But to your point, will Blashill help that? Absolutely. I think there's two things now. I think it's Chicago Blackhawks. It's an original six. People want to play for original six. It's a big deal. Chicago's a great city. They've got Connor Bedard. Connor McDavid attracted some pretty good talent that went to Edmonton. Connor Bedard is going to do the same in Chicago because players want to win. And moreover, they also want to make money. So I think Chicago is going to check a lot of boxes. I just don't think this is going to be the summer that you're going to see those big or even mid-big swings. I think that's probably next summer.
All right, we'll see. We got to hit the break zone. A little bit more on Blashill and the Hawks, and we'll move on to the Cup Final coming up next on CHGO Blackhawks.
And if you are looking to elevate your summer or any season of the year, head on over to the Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. It is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. What are some of the amazing features that make the brand or product awesome at Sunnyside? Well, it's great because it's a one-stop shop for all of your cannabis needs. It has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strands for you to choose from. Plus, Sunnyside has easy online ordering and in-store pickup. You can check out any of their stores across Illinois, whether it's in the city in Wrigleyville and River North or out to the suburbs like Champaign and South Beloit, just to mention a few. And if you are just starting out your cannabis journey, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands you all know and love to get you started. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off of your first 3 online purchases when you use the code CHGO at checkout. That's HICHGO to qualify. Exclusions do apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for those 21 or older or Illinois medical card holders. And if you're an existing user, you can use the promo code CHGO50 for 50% off one Cresco Labs brand item. That's a good deal.
That's good stuff. And we've all been there. Your parlay is one leg away, and then a relief pitcher gives up a walk-off bomb in the 9th. It's heartbreak. If it sounds familiar, the HOF app is built to fix that. Started by 2 lifelong sports fans who also happen to be Ivy League grads. HOF makes parlay research smarter, faster, and data-driven. This is not your buddy's group chat full of hot takes. It's a full analytics engine. The HOF app gives you access to advanced stats, historical data, or data, as some call it, and powerful tools to help you bet smarter. It's built for the everyday sports fan, so it's easy and intuitive to use. You'll get an idea of your parlay's chances to hit and identify weak legs so you can weed them out before you place them. It's good stuff. And maybe the best part, once you've built your parlay, you can send it straight to your sportsbook with one click, no manual entry, no wasted time. The HOF app syncs automatically with most major sportsbooks. HOF isn't just about parlays. It's built for player props, game lines, totals, and more, giving you the tools to break down trends, spot value, and make you smarter to bet across every major market. And for a limited time only, our listeners not only get a 7-day free trial, but they also get 50% off their first month when they use the code CHGO at checkout. Just download the HOF app on iOS or Android, or visit hofbets.com, enter code CHGO, and you're all set. So do that, the HOF app. We're back with more with Petey. I want to mention this too, something interesting about Blashill. You mentioned his relationship with John Cooper, 3 years in Tampa. His 2 probably main influences are Mike Babcock and John Cooper. 2 guys that really could not be more different in terms of personality, in terms of player management, and all that sort of a thing. Hopefully, Jeff Blashill is the perfect medium between Mike Babcock and John Cooper.
Well, he sounds like Mike Babcock.
Yeah,
it's interesting because you do what you hope for someone that's had a career as long as he has is that you draw something from the people that you've learned from. Now, with Babcock, there's a lot of good knowledge there. There's a lot of good coaching. There's a lot of good X's and O's stuff. There's some baggage. Hopefully he took the good from that situation. And with Cooper, same thing. Hopefully he took the personality, the relationships he had with his players and carries that over to a team that desperately needs that interaction between coach and player and be able to bridge that gap. And I'm hopeful that he's got the right guy. But more importantly, too, is that he brings the right people with him, because you can't have a coach do it all by himself. You need that coaching staff that insulates you, that protects you, but also accommodates for your weaknesses and things that you don't do well. You have assistant coaches that do things that you can't do. So hopefully he's building that core staff, and he's got some names picked already. I know we've heard some rumors, so we'll see how that coaching staff gets filled out.
So we know it's Sorensen. We know it's Michael Pekka. Jimmy Wade is retained. The rumor, and it seems to be all but confirmed, is Mike Vellucci, who's coming over from Pittsburgh. So you've got a Mike Sullivan disciple coming in too. So that seems like, if that's the move, which I'm 99% comfortable saying after all the reports we've seen, that will be the guy. So he's got a lot of, I like the youth with Pekka, the connection to the game, the recent game, and then the long-time assistants. Now you've got the connection with the players and Sorensen. I like how Blashill has built this staff.
The one thing I want to say about Michael Pekka too is that not just that he is a more recent player, but he's a guy that in the room when he says something, and specifically to Connor Bedard, he can go, dude, I've been there. I've done that. I've won Selke trophies. You want to talk about how to defend in the National Hockey League? I can tell you how to defend. And you talk about one of the things he did well with the New York Rangers was help them in the faceoff circle. And he helped improve their overall faceoff numbers. It's an area that Connor Bedard also has struggled at. So I think Michael Pekka is going to be a guy that really can help Connor Bedard. And we talked about how important Bedard is to this organization. Well, they proved it, I think, in that hiring of Michael Pekka.
Yeah, I think all the assistant signings, the guys coming with him, they make a lot of sense. And we knew Sorensen was going to stay with the organization. Didn't know exactly how, but again, it makes a lot of sense that he'd stay on as an assistant with that connection with the young guys and the emphasis that's been put on their development. Want to go to the Cup Final?
Yeah, let's go to the Cup Final. I just got to ask you, you watch a lot. You're working for ESPN, drawing up stuff. There's a lot of teams in the NHL playoffs that are very, very deep and talented. Why are the Florida Panthers such a playoff juggernaut? What is it about them that is so hard to beat?
No state income tax.
There's a couple things, and there's a couple things that are important. I think this is a team that plays a style of play that's successful in the playoffs. Their aggressive style, their grinding style, their ability to take away time and space from top players. It allows them to play with the puck more often. But secondarily, they have that playoff prototype player. And you've seen that, Matthew Tkachuk, Bennett, you've got that grit and it's contagious. There is a belief in that room. And I think that the experience, you don't have the young rookies on the team. You don't have the 22-year-olds that are carrying the load here. These are guys that are battle tested. They know how to win and they believe that they can win. In that room, there's no fear. They're going to win. They could be behind 2 goals in the third period. But we're going to win because we're the Florida Panthers. As long as we can play continually the way we are supposed to play in a structure and a system that works for us. And we know we trust our coach. We trust our system. We play within that structure and system the way we're supposed to play. We're going to win hockey games. And I think when you get that from player 1 to player 20, it's incredibly difficult to beat that. And I think this team just believes they're going to win. And I do think that makes a difference.
This is a rematch from last year. A lot of people are considering the Oilers a better version of themselves than last year. Do they have enough to overcome the Panthers this time around?
It's different, and the Oilers are better. This is the best Oilers team I've seen in years, and it's because they're not relying on McDavid and Draisaitl. However, those two are leading the way, but it's not just them. This Oiler team defends. They defend the rush. They chip and chase at times. They make the right play over the red line. They just gain zones little by little. Things that Edmonton Oilers teams have not done in the past, where they were run and gun and we're going to outscore you and that's how we will win. This team has been able to defend. And I do think that makes them incredibly dangerous to Florida. I thought last year Florida was easily the better team going into the Stanley Cup Finals and went 7 games. This year, that margin is razor thin. Like this is the two best teams right now are the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Edmonton can win the series. I didn't think they could last year. Edmonton can win, and they're playing the right way. The big concern there is players like Brown and Hyman, the guys that we talked about winning those 50-50 battles along the wall and in the corner, are out of the lineup right now. And Hyman's not coming back. Hopefully Brown does for Oilers fans because they're going to need that element. Jeff Skinner's a nice player. But when you have to go in the corner with Bennett and Skinner, I'm telling you who's coming out with the puck. So they do need that grit back if they're going to try to find a way to get over and climb that mountain.
All right, you brought it up, so I want to ask you about this. I guess we're swinging it back to the Hawks for a second. Sam Bennett's a guy that's going to get paid a ton this summer, either by Florida or by somebody else. Do you think Sam Bennett is a guy who, out of the Florida Panthers, is going to be a guy who is worth paying $10 million to? Is he a product of the environment he's in, or is Sam Bennett really an 82-game and playoffs game-changing top-tier NHL player?
He's a great player on a really good team. I don't know his role on the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't know if they're ready for Sam Bennett, meaning you're going to sign Sam Bennett to a huge contract because he deserves it and earned it. But he's not a top line guy that's going to carry the load. And that's not the style of game that he has. I don't think they are ready for Sam Bennett. And I don't think if you signed him, you would be happy with Sam Bennett. your expectations are going to be way too high. You're going to want him to carry the load. You want to be leading it offensively because of the money you're paying him. And that's not what he does. That's not the element that he's going to bring to that team. So you can sign him, but have some temper the expectations that he's not going to be that guy that's going to make a difference in our club right now. He's a middle of the lineup guy for the Florida Panthers, and that's where he fits. I still think somehow he's going to end up as a Florida Panther because that's where he belongs. He's that style of player. Now, Chicago needs him to win a cup again, but they don't need him yet.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Takes the
Were you
wind out of
hoping,
my
Jay?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I just want someone.
But you're not going to be happy with
someone to
Sam
make the
Bennett.
team better.
Because Sam Bennett's not going to be able to score because he doesn't have the support. He's not going to be able to grind it out in the corners because he's going to give it to who's that next play going to be made? And is it going to be to Bertuzzi? That's another conversation for another day. So I'm just not sure that they're ready for a player like that. They need somebody that can provide more by himself, and I don't think Bennett can do that.
Yeah, that's why I asked. You're probably right. All right, back to the Cup final. Discipline. Yes. Come on. Jesus, Jay, let's go.
No, it's fun. That's my hockey.
You mentioned the Oilers D, man. It was really impressive against Dallas. There was a period of that. Was it between the second and third, or was it just the third, where the Stars had like 3 shots on goal through 17 minutes or something like that? Edmonton is so praised for their offense, as they should be. But you're right. Their defense has been able to lock it down a lot this year, in these playoffs especially. And I do feel more comfortable. I still think I'm going with Florida just because I think they're the perfect playoff team, but it doesn't feel nearly as certain as it did last year. Like you said, I think that Edmonton's D has really improved, and I feel like they're playing with a little more swagger than they did last year. And I know that's maybe that's just media crap or fan talk or whatever, but I do think the start last year maybe hurt their confidence a little bit. To be as good as they were all year and get back here again, it just feels like they got a little more swagger, a little more confidence about them.
The funny thing is, you talk about how their ability to defend, and Mattias Ekholm coming back in their lineup. Honestly, he blocks the shot that ends up scoring the goal for McDavid, and it's a big play in that game. But now they're solid at the back end, and we talked about shots on goal over the last 3 games, games 3, games 4, and game 5. They held the Dallas Stars to 4 shots in the third period in each of those games. Those are games that the Dallas Stars need to win, are desperate, and need to create offense, and it was 4 shots per game. That's insane. The ability for a team like the Edmonton Oilers to shut things down because they don't play shutdown hockey, or at least they didn't. The 2 other things about this is all the stories that have led up to this for the Edmonton Oilers. You saw Jeff Skinner was red rotten to start this playoffs against the LA Kings, 11 goals in 2 games, and they have no hope, and they're going to be out of this. And then Pickard carries the load. You go to game 4 against the LA Kings. Quentin Byfield had the puck in his zone on his tape. He just needs to flip it out to the neutral zone, and he doesn't. That would put the LA Kings up 3-1 in this series, and Edmonton's gone. But that didn't happen. Bouchard holds the puck in. Great defensive play. They score, and then they score in overtime. So this is how tight the margins were early, and it takes teams to roll into the mythos that they are now, and that's where Edmonton is. Like, Edmonton wasn't this against LA. They started to get that way against Vegas, but they definitely became what we're saying now, that defensive team that can also score goals. They became that against Dallas. And so now we're looking at them. Gosh, they do match up against Florida. And I haven't spent a lot of time on the video. That's what I'm doing all weekend on strengths and weaknesses of both teams and how each team has to play to win. And I tell you what, Edmonton's got a lot of the recipe. They do, because they get speed through the neutral zone. They're able to get chances in behind their opposition's defensemen. And the Florida Panthers pinch tight and have really tight gaps between the blue lines, and they're susceptible to getting players in behind them. Carolina just didn't have the horses. They didn't have the talent that the Edmonton Oilers do. This could come down to who can get faster through the blue lines.
All right. We want to get to the Ottinger stuff?
Yeah.
Petey, former goalie, former NHL video coach. Pete DeBoer, we're going to play the audio next. We don't want to waste any time with Petey, but Pete DeBoer basically bus tosses Jake Ottinger. He gives up 2 goals on 2 shots, takes him out right away. Casey DeSmith goes in. After the game, DeBoer basically says, I'm not blaming it all on him, but if you look back, he can't beat the Oilers. He kind of sucks. He didn't say kind of sucks, but he basically said that. This feels like the old Patrick Waugh game in Edmonton in Montreal where he told the GM, trade me now. I'm never playing another game for this team. it feels like something has to give between DeBoer and Ottinger after something like that happens.
Yeah. This is when I sat and watched that happen. Well, first of all, your first thought is, are you serious? This is an elimination game. This is a move you make in game 3 when you have time to adjust and you have enough rope that this can shake up your team and help them get through to the end of the line. You don't do this in game 5 in an elimination game. And moreover, I don't mind the shock and awe. I don't. I do believe you saw it in other series where Kochetkov comes in because Carolina couldn't find a way to get over Florida. They make a change in goaltender. They go back to Anderson because he had time to go back to Anderson. The problem here is Casey DeSmith had 3 playoff game experience before he went in last night. 3. He had won 1 playoff game in his career. And you're going to throw him against the Edmonton Oilers down 2-0 halfway through the first period. Insanity to me. But if you're going to do it, if you are going to do it because you need to spark your team and really say, hey, this is your guys' fault because you did this to your buddy, your pal. You did this to Jake. You did this to Otter. Feel shame and go play. I'm almost understanding of that take. The problem, and what I think is going to be the demise of Pete DeBoer in Dallas is the way he handled it in the press conference. I honestly don't know. I don't care if Pete DeBoer likes Ottinger. Don't care. I mean, he might hate his goaltender saying, you're supposed to be our all-star goaltender. You needed to win us a game in this series. You needed to make 30 saves. You needed to stop McDavid. You needed to stop the saves you should have saved and more and help us win games. He might think that. But you sure as hell don't say it to the media. You say to a goalie that you have signed for the next 4 years, hey, we needed to shake things up. Jake did the best he could, and these goals weren't his fault. We needed to get better from our team, and I thought this might be a way to shake this team up. I feel bad for Otter, but this is the move I had to make. Done. The result is still the same. And you could even say that to Ottinger after. Hey, we needed more out of you in the room. But you don't say it on the media. You embarrass the player and you embarrass the team. And now I'm wondering what the mood in that team is. Because everybody's talking about it. You don't think the players left that going, that coach said that about our guy and his record? Like, yeah, he's lost 6 or 7. Do you know who also lost 6 or 7? You did, DeBoer. You lost 6 or 7. You lost 7 games down the end of the stretch and the end of the home season, giving up 3 or more goals in the end of the season without adjusting your defensive zone system. You gave up goals on the power play in every single game in the series against Edmonton, and you did not adjust your penalty kill. Does some of this fall on you, putting Maverick Bourque in a game 6 or game 5 elimination game for a guy that hadn't played in over a month? Yeah, some of this falls into your court. So I am wondering how, make the decision, stick by it. I'm going to get a spark. But don't throw your star goaltender under the bus to the media. There's no way this relationship gets mended. I don't see any way. I think that was the last game Pete DeBoer coaches for the Dallas Stars.
How do you go into training camp next year and be like, all right, boys, let's go to battle together if Jake Ottinger's on that team? And if I'm Jim Nill and I'm looking at Pete DeBoer and I'm looking at Jake Ottinger and I'm betting on the future, I'm taking Jake Ottinger. Sorry.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And here's the thing about Pete DeBoer. Yeah, he's been in the finals with the San Jose Sharks. Great. He couldn't get Vegas over the hump. And again, goalie controversy, Lehner and Fleury. Go look it up. And Fleury had his agent's backstabbing tweet. Happened before. Couldn't get him over the hump. He gets fired. What'd they do? Well, they won a cup. I think this Dallas Stars team over the last 3 years, the last 2 seasons definitely were better than the Edmonton Oilers. I know Edmonton's playing well right now, but last year they won the President's Trophy and they couldn't get through the Edmonton Oilers. And some of that, I talk about adjustments and how important coaching is from game 83 on. And it's about making adjustments. And I did not see those adjustments from the Dallas Stars over this series. I didn't see them change the way they played. They didn't find a way to generate more offense, and they sure as hell didn't defend better. And some of that has to go and has to rely and has to be pointed at the coach. And so I do think there's so much that goes into this. And most teams would be thrilled. Chicago right now, if they went to the Western Finals 3 years in a row, they would take Jeff Blashill and make a statue. But that's not where it's at for the Dallas Stars and Pete DeBoer. And I think the expectations were higher this season.
All right, yeah. Petey, we love you. We're way over time. Thank you so much for doing
Thanks,
this.
guys.
I'm sure we'll catch up soon. Check out Petey's work, of course, and Inside the Coach's Room on YouTube, on his Twitter at @SPetersHockey. Great stuff as always, man. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. We'll see you soon.
We'll talk to you. All right. Break zone time. We're late. We got to do it quick. Let's go.
Well, good thing we have to do it quick because here's a Ray Chevrolet read. In Fox Lake, visit Ray Chevrolet, kicking off their summer with big Memorial Day savings going on all month long. That means 2 more days of this month of May. Come in today and shop their Memorial Day sales event and drive home with 0% financing on 60 months. On new select Chevy models. You can check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. And with one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. And as one of the top selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know you'll be getting a great deal. Plus, with Ray's Price Promise, that lets you shop confidently because it guarantees no add-ons, no hidden fees, and no gimmicks, meaning the price you see is the price you pay. Don't have to worry about any price changing, stressful negotiations, or any tricks. The people at Ray Chevrolet just want to help you get into the right vehicle at the right price. So go see for yourself. Visit our friends at their convenient location right now on Route 12 in Fox Lake. And don't miss out on their Memorial Day sales event going on all month long for 0% financing on new select Chevy models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
And you need new floors. You have not replaced your floor since 1974. No one wants olive green tile anymore. It's time to upgrade, and you should do it with our friends at Empire Today. You don't want to do it yourself with one of those big box stores. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to help you. They're not going to give you the right thing for your needs. You want the experts, and that's why Empire Today is your best bet for a new floor because, as we've told you for years now, Empire Today lives and breathes flooring. They'll be with you every step of the way. They'll give you precise measurements taken in your home. They bring the showroom right to you, and they'll answer all your questions, make sure everything looks right, the colors match, all that great stuff. That's why Empire Today are the pros you want to hire. With Empire Today, you get clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard me right. A $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. And now it is time for Taking the Temp, presented by our friends at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. You can visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Taking the temp of Dallas Stars fans. I was curious. One of my favorite things to do is whenever a team has a meltdown moment, to go on their social media and see the fan reaction, or go on their local sports radio station and listen to them meltdown. It's delightful. Most Dallas Stars fans I saw after the Pete DeBoer incident are pro Ottinger, anti DeBoer. Like, it really feels like 80-20 at least from what I saw last night on the social medias after the Stars lost and DeBoer said what he said. So like we said with Petey, it does not feel like this is something DeBoer can bounce back from.
No, it's much easier to go out and find a new coach than it is to find a goaltender you believe is going to be your starter 60-plus games a year for the next 8-9 years, whatever it is. I don't think, I said it last night after I saw the end of the game and DeBoer's comments. It was just, well, one of these two has to leave town. Because you can't, I don't know how you go back into that locker room, as you were saying with Petey. I don't know how you go back in that locker room as Pete DeBoer and have the trust of the team when you're airing your grievances with your goalie out publicly like that after an elimination game. And I just feel like with it, it's not like you were going from mid goalie to mid goalie, right? You don't get to the Western Conference Final with 2 mid goalies, but you're going from, a star goaltender in Jake Ottinger to your backup mid goalie. And, to do that and right at the start of the game, 2 goals on 2 shots. Sure. That's not great.
No,
but you have to give yourself the best chance to win. And Casey DeSmith wasn't going to do that for you over Jake Ottinger. And I think, you look at what Pete DeBoer said, the actions of it, and even too, when you see Ottinger get pulled from the game, they're at the bench. He's going back to the crease as if he's like, yeah, I'm okay. We'll figure this out. And then he spins around, probably because he got told, like, hey, come back. And then it is pulled from there. It wasn't even like a messaging straight away. It was almost like it was like a knee-jerk reaction.
Like he decided because he was pissed.
Right. So it's just a bad look. For DeBoer, I think it's much easier to replace the coach, and two, like, you've kind of screwed your whole team in the comments, not just Ottinger, because you said, like, yeah, this guy's got a track record of not beating the Oilers and being bad against the Oilers. Dallas and Edmonton could very well be the Western Conference Final next year.
100%.
And if you're Pete DeBoer and you have that comment out there, we can't beat the Oilers.
Yeah.
Well, how do you have any faith that team's going to believe they can do it?
I don't. Let's play the comments real quick because I did kind of paraphrase them and I don't want to be unfair to Pete DeBoer. So here are his comments after the Dallas Stars lost to Edmonton, losing the Western Conference Finals.
Well, anytime you pull a goalie, there's the reasoning's always to try and spark your group. So that was the number one reason. We had talked endlessly in this series about trying to play with the lead, and obviously we were in a 2-0 hole right away. And you know what? I didn't take that lightly, and I didn't blame it all on Jake. But the reality is if you go back to last year's playoffs, he's lost 6 to 7 games to Edmonton, and we gave up 2 shots on 2 goals in an elimination game. So, it was partly to spark our team and wake them up, and partly, knowing that, status quo had not been working, and that's a pretty big sample size.
He talks about playing with the lead and all that. Stars won game 1.
Yep.
6-3. They then lost the next 4. They were outscored 19-5, and they did not hold the lead for a single second of the next 4 games. Is that all on Jake Ottinger?
Apparently.
He's 5 goals and 5 goals scored in 4 games. I mean, look, and yeah, was Ottinger good? No. But that is a singular bus toss of your goaltender.
Yeah, there's no coming back from that. That's really rough. I mean, I just can't imagine. You have to remember how when you're trying to win a Stanley Cup, everything has to go right. Right? You don't want any. We know this better than anything. You don't want distractions. Stan Bowman resigned due to making a decision like that. Joel Quenneville was out of hockey for years. I know it's not the same thing, but my point, it's an extreme example of how we can't have any distractions.
Right.
No matter how important the thing on the other side of it is, right? It's ridiculous. It's stupid. This is a 1/1,000,000th of that level, but it shows you how much teams think about that. And this from day one. And like you said, man, if they meet again in the Cup final, in the Western Conference Final, that seed is already planted of we can't beat Edmonton. Jake Ottinger can't beat Edmonton.
Yeah.
But look, man, like as great as Mikko Rantanen was to start the playoffs, kind of disappeared in the West Final, as did a lot of Dallas Stars. I know they had a lot of really good players banged up. This is in a day or two, we're going to find out like this guy, had a heart attack during the second period and shook it off. And This guy's femur is split in 5 pieces, and it happens to every team. But here's the other part of this. If Dallas fires Pete DeBoer today, tomorrow, whatever it might be, who's out there? Who's available for Dallas? Peter Laviolette? John Tortorella?
Yeah,
you want Torts in Dallas?
Probably not. Yeah, I mean, it's the same as the Blackhawks. You go out there and you see who's available. But I think it's a different circumstance. The Blackhawks didn't, it's different when you have a coach that has kind of, burned a bridge with a player. And it's different than just, the results aren't. If it's results based, you've gone to the conference final. You've had a ton of success in the regular season. You have a group that is like, you have a win now and a win in the future group. Like, it's all there. But now you throw in the, the wrench of the room dynamics and how it can or, could be affected. Like, that's a lot different than just saying we want to go out there and improve upon our coaching stuff. Pete DeBoer is one of the better coaches in the league.
Yeah.
It's hard to just say, oh, we're just going to improve from him. But it might just be like, you can't keep him around potentially. I don't know. If he is out in Dallas, he's not going to look for a job for very long.
I think that's going to give some teams some pause though, because now you've got evidence of it happening in 2 cities.
Oh yeah,
because it had with Leonard and Fleury, and now with Ottinger. I mean, just remember, like a week and a half ago, we're talking about, is Jake Ottinger the best U.S. goalie? Has he, because of Connor Hellebuck's playoff woes, has Ottinger, jumped over him? I still say no. But that conversation was happening 10 days ago.
Right.
And now it's, had to pull him because he sucks against the Oilers. Yep. So do you, Pete. All right, last break zone. Then we're going to talk about the new head coach of your Rockford Icehogs here on CHGO Blackhawks.
And summer weather is here for the most part, kind of.
It's like 75 right now, right?
It's going to get hot over the weekend.
77.
Is your air conditioning up to the challenge? If not, you need to call Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, and Electric to get right for the summer. They've been serving the Chicagoland area for over 50 years, and now is the right time to get your air conditioning checked out. Four Seasons' experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. Last summer was officially Chicago's hottest year on record, the heat index reaching 114 degrees at O'Hare. That's very hot. That's very humid. And if you know anything about the Midwest, it's not the heat that gets you, it's the humidity. So you want to be cool and comfortable in your home or apartment or your office, whatever it is. Four Seasons is there to help you. Their expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service. And what's really nice about Four Seasons is that they don't charge for service during nights, weekends, or holidays. So if you have a 4th of July emergency or your AC craps out in the middle of the night and it's a 90-degree night, you can call Four Seasons and they can get it done for you right then and there. You can save up to $4,000 on a new comfort system with Four Seasons. New AC units start from $39 a month, and new AC furnace combos starting from $57 a month. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. Again, that's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com.
And when you leave your nice, cool home this summer and you walk outside, you're going to want to protect those eyeballs of yours. And our friends at Shady Rays are helping you do just that with their premium polarized shades that will not break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. We got to update that number. It's got to be at least 350,000 by now. At least. They've got durable frames, crystal clear optics. They are the perfect choice for all your outdoor adventures. You can get them in your favorite team's colors, so maybe red and blue for the Cubs, black and red for the Hawks, Bulls, Sox, whatever they wear, black, white, gray, all that stuff.
Silver.
With so many colors available, you will find the perfect pair for you. And if they ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't worry. They have the most insane protection plan in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by their lost or broken replacement program. And if you don't love them, you will. But if you don't, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them worry-free within 30 days. There is no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. And our listeners, check this out. Go to shadyrays.com. Save 35% off polarized sunglasses with the code CHGO. Over 300,000 people have rated Shady Rays 5 stars. So use that code CHGO today. It's shadyrays.com. All right, the Rockford Icehogs have named their new head coach. It is Jared Nightingale, who had been with the Icehogs for a long time as an assistant from 2021 to 2024. Last year was the coach of the South Carolina Stingrays of the ECHL. So there you have it. And we knew this a couple days ago, and we started talking about this. I think Scott Powers mentioned it. The Hawks want to hire a head coach for Rockford that is development forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much about winning Calder Cups. That'd be great if it happens, but it's about getting all these Hawks prospects that are here or will be arriving shortly from college or junior, whatever it might be, ready for the NHL. And they've chosen Jared Nightingale, who is significantly younger than me, and I hate it.
He's, what, 42?
42.
42.
I remember those days.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's a good move. It's a guy that, like you said, he's got history and a relationship with the Icehogs, was an assistant there, was captain of the team 2013, 2014, had a long playing career, and he's one of those guys that wasn't, a high-level player, never played in the NHL, but it's a guy that can relate to the experience of the youth and the minor leagues, and I think that that's a really good aspect to have for this group moving forward. He's got his brother, Adam, was an assistant coach with Jeff Blashill, is the head coach at Michigan State right now. So there's maybe a little insight on Artem Levshinov directly. There's potentially a relationship with Jeff Blashill, so it's always good to kind of have that coaching connection working out, because what Nightingale is going to be doing in Rockford is making sure that these young players and these guys with the Icehogs are up to speed for what the NHL and the Blackhawks are going to ask of them if and when they make it up to Chicago. So I think it's a good move. Last season with the Stingrays in the ECHL, 52-15-5 record.
That's pretty good.
Most points in the league,
By
and
column.
he was named coach of the year. So that's pretty impressive to do year one with a new team, and now he's going to come back to Rockford, take over the head coaching spot there. So yeah, I think that's a smart move. Mark Eaton's going to go back into the front office after taking over the reins when Anders got the interim job in Chicago. So I think that makes all the sense in the world. Just go back to doing that. And it seems like all the assistants are also back in Rockford. So not a whole, turnover. So good for the continuity of the Icehogs moving forward.
And they hire a coach with a good head of hair.
Yeah.
It had been since the days of Luke Richardson, way back then, that the Hawks had a coach with
way
good
back
hair.
in December when he was still around.
All the way. Remember, like Petey says, it feels like a lifetime ago when the Coyotes ceased to exist.
Mm-hmm.
The Luke Richardson era feels like 15 years ago. So much has happened since then. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I know we got some super chats, so let's get those in before we wrap things up. History Racer. Well, let's save that one. Actually, let's do that second because it's going to lead me nicely to segue into the promotion.
Smart.
Got that, Katie? Katie's nodding. She's delighted by my hosting skills. Daniel, $5 says, any news on the arrival of Ilya Safonov?
Daniel
6'4". What did I say?
I'm just pointing out his name is Daniel Weldon, which is it's one letter away in Weldon. If there was an H in there, it would be the former IndyCar driver.
Oh,
Indy 500 champion, and prayers up to Dan Weldon.
Anyways,
Anyways, getting to the question.
Did I misremember this? Isn't Safonov not signing?
So there was a report that he was leaving the KHL for North America, which would mean he's coming to the Blackhawks. But I don't think there was much follow through beyond that. And I hadn't really heard that there was a conflicting report. Last I was going off of was the information from, I think it was Hockey News Hub, which is very KHL focused and usually, on point with that kind of information, that Safonov was leaving with the intention, or was not renewing with the intention of coming to North America. Scott Powers might have had.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Did he have something to the contrary?
No,
Who am
I thinking of? I feel like they had a Russian prospect that wasn't going to sign with them.
You think what was the guy's name that Scott always talked about but never came over? I can't remember his name now.
Okay, so
who's that guy? If only there was a way to know.
I don't think
there's no
here. Okay, May 9th, the Blackhawks aren't expected to sign forward prospect Ilya Safonov when his KHL contract expires later this month.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought I remembered that. Not all teams sign as prospects, especially if true. Blah,
Max
blah, blah.
Shalunov. That's the guy's name.
That's what. Yes.
Max Shalunov. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any inside information. If there was an insider that would know about Ilya Safonov, it would be Scott Powers. But yeah, that was the last indication we had, is that I guess conflicting reports. We'll see. If he does come over, good. I think that's a young guy, a big guy, early to mid 20s, plays center. I think he'd be someone that you throw into the mix there and see what he can do. If he's a contributor in the Rockford lineup, I think that insulates that group pretty well. See how he translates to the North American game at the AHL level, and then who knows if he, gets promoted up to the NHL. I think it's worth a shot if that is in the cards.
So here's I found it in the article again. This is from May. Safonov is not a clear-cut NHL player, but he might have a chance in a bottom six role. He previously expressed interest in signing with the Blackhawks, but with his KHL deal expiring at the end of May, it doesn't sound like the Blackhawks will offer him an NHL deal. His age, what the Blackhawks have in the pipeline, and his projection all come into play with such a decision. They own his rights indefinitely, having been drafted out of Russia, so something could always change. So as of now, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So I think that makes sense. Like, he's 24, he comes over. You're going to want to give him a year at least in Rockford, and then there's a bottom six where you got something new, something fresh.
From our friends at Hockey News Hub, per Arthur Karulin,
Sure.
whoever that is, Ilya Safonov and Artem Galimov will stay with Akbars for at least another season. This was 3 days ago.
Okay.
So
There you
go. There's that.
So there's your news, Daniel Weldon, former IndyCar racer, I've learned. Speaking of racers, let's get the history racers.
I love trying to decipher KHL news.
It is difficult.
You have no idea what to take for truth or for, I don't even know, half truth.
Whatever you want the truth to be is the truth now.
We're not going to brush past that. That was a phenomenal segue, and I need to acknowledge that.
Thank you.
What happened?
Good job.
Speaking of racers, let's get the
Yeah,
history
he
racer.
said former IndyCar racer. Speaking of racers. Anyway,
There you
continue.
I mean, it's pretty smooth. I'm going to be honest. So history racer says first show as a diehard, Bedard
Nice.
should be right wing one. Okay. We'll see. He's got a year with some real coaching and Michael Pekka's influence. We'll see if he can become a full-time center.
Yeah.
I still think he can. A lot of the experts think he can, but if he turns out to be a 100-point right winger, okay.
Yeah,
I can live.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll take that.
Patrick
I'll
Kane was
take
pretty
that
good
L.
too. Yeah.
Anyway, as he mentions, his first show as a diehard, we should remind you, and shame on me for not doing this sooner, our $36 sale for a year of diehard membership has been extended through today. So this is we say this all the time. We really mean it this time.
The end of today.
This is your last chance to take advantage of this great deal. $36 gets you the full diehard package. This is not some kind of different deal because it's less expensive. Like, no, you still get the free shirt, which is like a $30 value right there. Access to all of our great written content, 20% off most of our events. Some of them are third-party runs, so not all of them, but the vast majority of them, tailgates, takeovers, golf outings, etc., etc. Save 20% on those. Save 20% on everything at store.allcitynetwork.com. So if you got family in Philly, Dallas, Phoenix, Denver, whatever, you can get them hooked up with some All City gear there with your discount. It's great. So do it. And you get access to our Diehards Only Discord. So when we do a Mailbag Monday show, which we'll probably do Monday, your questions will get top priority on Mailbag Monday. So become a diehard. You can scan that QR code on your screen right now or go to allchgo.com/intro to sign up for this great, great deal. So
We have neglected to get the biggest news of the day out on the show. Katie, your thoughts on Taylor Swift now owning all of her music legally?
I haven't had a lot of time to digest it, if I'm being honest with you, because I saw it right when I woke up. Great. I'm loving it. I was a little bit emotional when I saw it because it's great
big
for
day
her.
in Taylor's world.
Big day
So
for
for the
Swifties.
olds like me, I think what I understand this is she had some kind of shady deal with the producer, couldn't get access to originals. That's why she reissued. She did Taylor's version
Right.
of like all of her albums.
She sold her songs.
Okay.
So
what it
like yeah,
was.
her original contract, like she didn't own the masters. So her original like, recording studio, whatever it was, sold her masters to somebody who she didn't have a good relationship with, and then he was like profiting off the music, but in her contract it did say she could re-record. So that's what she started doing. And then when the person she didn't have a good relationship with sold her masters to like some financial capital company, she eventually has now bought them from that company.
I'm shocked she can afford it.
Are you?
Yeah. Did you miss her $1 billion tour that lasted 3 years or whatever it was?
And her private jet flights from Detroit to Cleveland.
That's nothing like my private jet flights from Chicago to Rockford that people think are real.
Yeah, those are real. I've seen you. I wave at you as you fly overhead. Good for her. That's great. Artists should not have, they should own their work. And good for Taylor Swift. All right. Good job. Katie, I appreciate the Taylor Swift update. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We will be back with Mailbag Monday, short of any major news, which we don't really expect it. We're just counting the days down to the draft.
No Stanley Cup playoffs.
That's on
until
Wednesday.
Man,
yeah,
it's a long time off.
So we'll make our picks probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday show.
Sure.
We'll talk to you then. So we'll talk to you Monday at 2, and then we'll do the picks Wednesday. You know how it works. Hit that like button. Make sure you become a diehard before that offer's over. allchgo.com/intro. We'll talk to you Monday for Mailbag Monday at 2 p.m. here on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.